Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am really glad you're here. Today's date is Wednesday, July 26, 2023, and we have a co-host sleeping on the job in the background there. Both of them are, but only one's in camera range. Today, let's take a look at what's happening. It has not been a good week for the resident's son. Hunter B seems to have had a change in his luck. Let's go to a compilation that I've got. You can pursue it more in depth at your leisure if you'd like to by clicking on the Facebook link that'll be in the video description box for this video. But if not, just notice where I'm using sources. As always, if I use a source, it's not a blanket endorsement of that publisher or person, etc. It's simply that in this instance, they seem to have got something posted that has validity. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look at what we're talking about. All right, well, yesterday, the legal team for HB was caught trying to represent themselves as from the prosecutor's office and getting some evidence removed from the docket. This has now been explained away as just a misunderstanding. They know actually who did it, and I hope that sincerely that person is disbarred. Even if they were following orders, they knew what they were doing was wrong, and they should face some consequences for it. And consequences are kind of the theme of this video. Now, DC Drano had a good summary of what happened when that happened. He next day, Hunter appears in court. Okay. And the plea deal set before the judge. Rather than rubber stamping it, she proceeds to read it and asks about some of the elements of it, including the fact that she was going to be giving him legal immunity for all future federal charges currently under investigation. And they had no good explanation for that other than that, again, sweetheart deal. So the judge said, no deal. When asked how he pleaded, Hunter said not guilty. And it gets better. Before the day was out, he was released, but with some expectations. By the way, this judge in the case, Judge Mary Ellen Noriega, was appointed by Mr. T. If you need some evidence that 46 isn't in charge, the fact of who was assigned to his case kind of tells you that right there. Okay, when he was released, it was with conditions including seeking employment, drug testing, counseling for substance abuse, absolutely no possession or use of controlled substances unless there's a prescription for it. I love the job has to be actively seeking employment. In other words, some of the consequences that any other defendant might face with charges like this. Still probably a little sweet because he was walking the streets, but kind of sweet. And yeah, I know he'll probably seem to be employed by somebody who owes his dad a favor, as a consultant or paper pusher of some sort. But do you mind if I kind of picture him hanging out the window at Taco Bell, handing bags out? I think that kind of fit his actual job skills pretty well. Okay, so in other words, he's been a bag man. Well, the universe has been very gracious lately about informing us when there's multiples of someone. We talk about the code for that as a 2.0. And without getting into what type of 2.0 it is, we just know it is. I believe that this is a Hunter 2.0 who seems to be having this bad week and doing these things. But I want to know if, since this is playing out in the mainstream, even though they're trying not to cover it. Oh, by the way, I didn't pop on over to it with the share screen, but you know what? With all of this going on with Hunter Biden and the whistleblowers for Mr. B, you know what's going on? The House has decided to hold some hearings about UFOs. Talk about look here, not there. Well, those of us even halfway awake aren't falling for that, but I thought it was just kind of humorous that is kind of like, they they caught us trying to suppress evidence, bring out the UFOs. So anyway, let's see what the universe wants us to know. Is this kind of a change of luck for the person seen in the public eye as Hunter Biden? Is this going to be the new normal? Is it going to seem that is it going to continue that he faces consequences kind of commensurate to what normal people would? And any other insights and information the universe wants us to know? Let's find out together. Okay, it'll be a Kachina and I spread asking about insights and information for the person seen in the public eye as HB, son of 46. Is this a trend of accountability that's going to continue, and are there other insights and information we should know? The Tower. Yeah, I think it's going to continue for him. Page of Pentacles. Three of Cups. The Fool. Eight of Swords. Four of Wands. King of Wands. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the insights that I've got, and then I'll show you the elements of the card that made me feel confident enough to say those things. Again, Tower moment's pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, fall from grace and boom. So Mr. HB is indicated by he's the first person in the history of my tarot reads who is indicated by the Tower moment. So yes, his luck is definitely going to appear to have changed. And it's because of some diligence on the parts of Justice team, and including some white hats, that his luck has changed. Recent past, we have some modest celebration going on. I think there were a number of people working behind the scenes that said, well, it is time for things to get a little more real for some of these players. And the first one on the docket was HB. Okay, so they're setting out on a new path for him, a new path for his perceived consequences and accountability. And again, a little more commensurate to what typical people might face, which is also a nudge to our normies that there's not an automatic pass. Those days are ending. Just because you think you're elite and special doesn't mean you are. You're still subject to the law. Okay, this truth could be easily seen by us if we would just look. Okay, but again, we were wondering, is it going to continue? So we're asking for a little information that hasn't rolled out yet, and we're receiving it. Okay, and again, here we've got a card here that indicates some agreements going on. This rollout, this Tower moment, is very much deliberate, and the consequences he faces, again, being a little more realistic to what people might typically face, is deliberate. There's some celebration going on that finally we're getting out of complete fiction and into maybe showing some real indications of what has happened to people. So King of Wands shows up here, and that's a leadership. So it was a decision that came from higher up in the Alliance and White Hat team to let this start changing, to have this narrative change. Let's get a couple more cards for further insights and information. Okay. Yeah, we've only seen part of what's going to seem to happen to HB. Okay. Again, just yes, it's not over yet, folks. He's going to face more and more of his ties and connections are going to be tied to other family members who may also face some consequences. Okay, the Empress often for me indicates a country that starts with R and U. So yeah, some of his ties and connections overseas are definitely going to be brought to light. okay? We don't have to worry as much as we think we do about the fact that this might be a temporary blip on his trajectory. It is going to continue. This trend of, oh my gosh, Hunter's getting treated like the rest of us is going to be the new normal. And I'm glad to see that. So let's recap. We were asking the universe, the person seen in the public eye as 46's son, HB, is having a bad week. His legal team got caught for some shenanigans. The judge didn't accept his plea deal. He's going to have to do some drug testings, actively seek employment, not be caught with controlled substances. It's not a good week for him. Is this going to be a trend that continues, and were there other insights? Was kind of what we asked the universe. Okay. HB, it's the first person that ever got indicated by the tower card. This is his tower moment. This is the start of, at least for his public story, you know, it's going to be a downhill roll from here. Okay. The Page of Pentacles told us that, and this change is a worthwhile effort. It was seen by the White Hats as something that needed to happen, and they started rolling it out. Okay. Recent past. While this could indicate, and I would not be surprised if the original HB used the party substance, this is just a celebration card saying that there is some celebration happening in the ranks of the behind the scenes people, that they're getting to have some more realistic and real consequences seeming to roll out for these players. Okay, again, whole new path for HB, whole new path, one of accountability, and it's not over yet. Now, we could have, the universe, I felt like we were getting chided a little bit that we could have seen this for ourselves if we wanted to, but we were asking about, is this a trend that will continue? And the universe knows those things much better than we. And yeah, so some celebration going on amongst the White Hats that the shift is changing. Okay. King of Wands, a little more information saying yes. It was a wise and the decision, and it came from higher up in the White Hats Alliance ranks to have his story seem to make some shifts and changes. Okay, now further insights included the fact that there's going to be more that he seems to be held accountable for. We're not done yet. Okay, they're trying to, there's some choices going on about exactly which of those will show up, but their choices are quite extensive. Without fabricating anything, the man was pretty active in shenanigans. Okay, this card indicated to me that there's part of what is definitely a high possibility to have him seem to be connected and held accountable for are going to be actions and transactions that occurred with U and R, the countries that start with R and U. Okay, think biolabs and things like that. Okay, and don't worry, this is a trend that's going to continue, both for what seems to be the being held accountable for HB and for our justice system in general. You see, I think the White Hats realize that, yes, we realize that many of our courts are not acting with integrity, and that there's a two-tier justice system. And I think they are trying to let us know that there are still, even in those cesspool waters of the judicial system, there are still some straight arrows and good players. And apparently one of them got assigned to HB's case. And again, that tells me if there was any possibility that his father is running the show, he wouldn't have allowed that to be the judge assigned to the case, would he? So again and again, there's going to be those instances where with just a modicum of logic, people go, wait a minute, his dad's so important. How is this happening? And I love it. I love it. I want more of it. And I'd like to know which people still playing in the ranks of our judicial system or serving in some capacity are doing so with integrity. We want to celebrate those people because it's real easy when everybody's doing the right thing to do it also. But to do the right thing when everyone around you is calling you silly and saying, you should be doing it our way, it's easier, it's more profitable. I'd like to know who to celebrate. I bet you would too. So hopefully, as things get disclosed, we'll find out who deserves those attaboys and who deserves some consequences. I'd rather have an attaboy or an attagirl, I don't care which it is, an atta rather than accountability. So, yeah, remember, integrity is doing the right thing when no one's watching, and some people are. Thank goodness. That's it for this video. Until next time, I give you and send you love, light, and all things bright.